This video is about solving and graphing linear equations. So let's begin. When solving for linear equations, our objective is to try and solve for x, or solve for the variable, right? And in order to do so, we're going to have to follow order of operations, and we're going to have to try and get to the like terms on each side. So terms with variables are going to be on one side, and terms without variables are going to be on another. So let's begin with the example. We have ax plus 2 equals 10. So we see that ax is the only term with a variable. So we're going to keep it there. But we see that 2 and 10 don't have variables. So we're going to have to move 2 from the left side to the right side. Now in order to do so, we're going to have to apply its opposite sign, right? So we see that it's plus 2, ax plus 2. So we're going to subtract 2, right? To make it equal to 0. But remember, what we do on one side of the equation, we have to do on the other side, right? So we're going to have to subtract 2 from each side. So we're going to get 8x plus 2 minus 2 equals 10 minus 2, right? When simplifying that, we're going to get 8x equals 10 minus 2. 10 minus 2 equals 8. So 8x equals 8. Now, we see that we have 8x, right? That's 8 multiplied by x. So we're going to have to do the opposite, right? The opposite of multiplication is division. So we're going to divide each side by 8. So we're going to see over 8 and over 8, right? So x is equal to 8 over 8, which, as we know, is equal to 1. Now, let's go for another example. On the equation on the right, we have 10x minus 5 equals 3x plus 9. So now we see that we have two terms with a variable, right? And we have two terms without a variable, right? 10x and 3x have variables, and then negative 5 and 9 don't have variables. So what we're going to try and do is we're going to move 3x to this side, to the left side, and we're going to move minus 5 to the other side, right? So in order to do so, let's start with the 5, right? We're going to have 10x, this is minus 5, so we're going to add 5 to each side. Remember, what we do on one side of the equation, we have to do on the other side of the equation. So we have 10x minus 5 plus 5 equals 3x plus 9 plus 5, right? When simplifying this, we're going to get 10x equals 3x plus 14, right? 9 plus 5 equals 14. But look, we still have a 3x right here. We have to move it to the other side. So since this is a positive 3x, we're going to apply its negative, right? We're going to do the opposite. So we're going to subtract 3x from each side. So we're going to get 10x minus 3x equals 3x plus 14 minus 3x. When we simplify this, we're going to get 7x, right? 10 minus 3 equals 3x minus 3x, which is just 0, right? So it's going to be 7x equals 14. Now look, we have 7 multiplied by x equals 14. So since it's multiplication, we're going to do the opposite, which is division. And we're going to divide each side by 7, right? So over 7 over 7. So that means x equals 14 over 7, which, as we know, is 2, right? Let's move to another example. Right, this example is a little trickier, but bear with me. We have 3x plus 10 brackets 2x minus 5 equals 3x plus 10. Now when following order of operations, right, we have to do everything within the parentheses or the brackets, right? PEDMAS or BEDMAS, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to expand this term right here. How we're going to do this is we're going to multiply the term outside of the bracket with each number or each term within the bracket, right? So we're going to have 10 multiplied by 2x and 10 multiplied by minus 5, right? So the equation is going to look like 3x plus 10 multiplied by 2x equals 20x, right? 10 multiplied by negative 5 is minus 50 equals 13x plus 10. Now, what we can do is what we did before, right? we're going to get like terms on one side. So the terms with variable is going to be on one side, and terms without variables are going to be on the other side. So I see that we have two terms with variables right here, and then we have one right here as well. But since we have two on the left side, I'm just going to try and get all the terms with variables on the left side and all terms without variables on the other, right? So we have a minus 50, right? So what I'm going to do is 3x plus 20x minus 50 plus 50, right? I'm going to add 50 on each side so we can get rid of the 50 on the left, right? Equals 13x plus 10 minus 50, right? We're going to simplify this. We're going to get 3x plus 20x equals 13x plus, sorry, this is supposed to be plus 10 plus 50, right? So now I see that there's a 13x on the right side, and we have to move that over. Since the positive 13x, we're going to subtract 13x from each side, right? So we're going to get 3x plus 20x minus 13x equals 10 plus 50, which is 60. Now we have all like terms on each side, right? We can, add them now. So 3x plus 20x, which is 23x, minus 13x, that's going to equal to 10x, right? So we have 10x equals 60, right? So now, since it's 10 multiplied by x, we're going to do the opposite and divide each side by 10. So we're going to do 10x over 10 and then 60 over x, right? So this 10 divided by 10 is 1, so it's just going to be x. And then 60 divided by 10 is 6, right? So we have x equals 6. So that's what we need to know about solving linear equations. Now when graphing linear equations, we're going to see most lines in this form. In the equation y equals mx plus b. Now I'm going to go through each term, and explain what it means. Starting with b. b is equal to the y-intercept, the point where the line hits the y-axis, right? So this is when x equals 0, right? So the coordinates would look like this, 0, comma, b, or whatever the term is, right? Now we have the x and the y, right? The y and the x. Those are just going to be your terms, right? Or your coordinates, your points, right? So it's just going to look like this, right? They're corresponding points. So if you plug x into this equation, you can solve for y. Now m equals the slope, right? The slope of the line. And then slope equals rise over run, right? So a little more about slope, right? In order to find slope of a line, right, we're going to follow the formula change in y over change in x, right? This simply means the second y term minus the first y term over the second x term minus the first x term, right? y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, right? So let's give an example. Let's say we have a line that passes through the points 0, 3, right, and 2, 5, right? What is the slope of this line, right? So let's first assign each value to its correct term, right? So we have 5, that's the second y point. We have 2, that's the second x point, right? We have 3 right here, which is the first y point, and 0, which is the first x point, right? So now we can just plug this into the equation, right? So we have 5 minus 3 over 2 minus 0, right? 5 minus 3 equals 2. 2 minus 0 equals 2. So the slope of this line is 2 over 2. But when we simplify this, that's just going to be 1. So what we're going to say is the slope of this line is equal to 1, right? So, or 1 over 1, which is rise over run, right? We go up one and we go right to one, right? So if it's a positive number, remember, if it's positive, it goes to the right and it goes up. If not, it does the opposite. So let's graph some linear equations. So let me just draw out a coordinate plane right here. Let's say we had the equation y equals 2x plus 2, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? We have the equation y equals 2x plus 2, right? We know that 2 is the y-intercept, so when x is equal to 0. So it hits the y-axis at 2. So we can plot the point 0, 2, which is right here. And we know that the slope is equal to 2. And we remember that slope is rise over run, so it's 2 over 1. So we go rise over run, so we go up 2 and 1 to the right, because it's a positive number. So we go up 2, so from 2 to 4 right here. We go 1 to the right at 1. So we're going to have the points right here at 1, 4. Right? Now we can make a line through it and now we successfully graphed this equation right here. Now that we've gone over in graphing a line with a positive slope, let's graph a line with a negative slope. So let's say we have the equation y equals negative 2x plus 3, right? Let me just draw out a coordinate plane right here. Right, let me put our points. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? So we know that the y-intercept, or the b term right here, is 3, right? So that's when x is equal to 0. So we're going to find the y-intercept, which is the vertical line, and we're going to go up 3 right here. So now we see that the slope right here is negative 2, right? Or negative 2 over 1. But we're still going to follow the rise over 1 rule. So rise over run. But since it's negative, instead of going up 2, we're going to do the opposite. We're going to go down 2, right? So from 3, we're going to go to 1, right? But we're still going to move 1 to the right. So we're going to plot the point right here at 1, 1. Now we can put a line through it. And now we have successfully graphed an equation or a line with a negative slope. So now we've gone over how to solve linear equations and how to graph lines in slope-intercept form. Thank you for watching.